Hey, hi everyone. Welcome to the another video of Postman series. So today in this video, we are going to see about the pre-request. Okay. So what is pre-request and when we can use the pre-request? So the pre-request script in the Postman to execute the JavaScript before the request runs. So for example, when you click the send button, so as per the Postman execution flow, so the pre-request script will execute first, then your endpoint will be processed. Then you will get the response. From the response, you can go further, some test cases for the validation or assertions. Okay. So the pre-request in the sense, like a kind of like a pre-conditions, right? So pre-request, when you write the test cases, so you will write some pre-requests, right? Similarly, here also the pre-script is available. So where you can write, for example, if you want to set some variables or some parameters, you can even send the one more request also. Okay, so we'll see how to set that. So now this is a get endpoint. So when I send this method, so I want to set this page number as a local variable. Okay. So in that case, what we were doing earlier, so pm.variables.set, and we are setting this page number, right? So when you give it as page number and the respective value, like for example, I'm giving as a 1. Okay. So let's give it as a 2. So when we send this request, so this is a local variable that is going to work only for this particular request. Okay, now you can see the page value is going as a 2. That's the reason we are getting the page value as a 2 here. So if I change it to 1, and it will be set it as a 1. Okay, so like this, we can use the pre-request script. So when exactly we can have, there is a use cases, for example. So now this is a request body. So this is a post method. So I'm going to send some couple of details. Okay, so name as a parameter. And I want to send, for example, today date. Okay, so in the today date, what we have to send? We have to send the today's date. So when you come and execute tomorrow, so for example, I have to send like this. So today is the 13/11/2022. Okay, so this is how I have to send the today's date. So when I execute the same request tomorrow, then I have to send the tomorrow's date, right? So it is very hard again coming here and I'm changing the next day, correct? Instead of doing this, what we can do now, we can define some pre-request script that will execute. Always it will give you the current date. So for example, in Java, we have a local date and time, right? Similarly, in JavaScript also, you have a couple of library which will give you the time and date. Okay, so for example, you can just go to the Google and you can just type for JavaScript libraries. Okay, so now if you just go here, so JavaScript date time library. Okay, so if you just look for this, you will get a lot of libraries. So for example, you can see multiple, almost 9, something is coming, right? So date JavaScript and moment.js, right? So there are lot of libraries are available which will give you the date and time format. Okay, so in Java we have a local date. Here you can see date.js, moment.js, date.js, right? So so we can take any other example. So I'm going to go to take under moment.js. Okay, so moment.js is one of the library which is written on the JavaScript, and our Postman also will support only JavaScript, right? So this is a library I'm going to use to get the date formats. Like it will give you the different time date formats. Okay, so now if you want to use this here, because I want to send it by today date. Okay, so now I'm going to the pre-request script. So I'm going to define this moment. Okay, so it is like an import statement. When it is come to Java, you have to use it as a require. Okay, so it is similar to how do we do the import in Java, right? So import utils, java.utils.dates, right? So something like this, similar import statement here also. So now the required statement is done. So now what we can do now, we can go for the date generation. So for example, I want to set the date as a variable. So dot set. So the variable name what we have given in the request body. So this is a request body. Okay, I'm just copying this and I'm giving this as a variable name. Okay, and here I have to generate the today's date. Okay, so for that I'm going to call the moment dot. Yeah, if you just leave it as a moment, then this will, okay, let me send this request. So this will give you the some different time and date format. Okay, so for example, here when you look at this moment, okay, the moment is giving different types of format. right? So if you are not using any format, then you are getting like this. Okay, you can see the today's date is coming as a 13/11, which is a today's date. So if at all, if you want to control the format, right? So for example, I want to get it as YYY MMDD. Okay. So if you want to get this format, so now it will come like a year, month, date. Okay, I think let me send this again. Okay, this is not working. Let me see what is the right format. We can check it from here. Okay, MMDDY. Okay, we can use like this. Okay, DD/MM. Okay, so now when I send this, okay, so it will come like a date, month, year, right? So I can change different format also. So DM. This format is not setting. Oh, okay, okay, I got this. We have not defined the variables here. Okay, so we have to define the variable. So now let's send this request. You can see it is coming as a month, date, year, right? So now we can change back to the previous one which we tried. So date, year, month, then I want to get it as a date. So this format will come. You can see it is coming as a year, month, and a date. So similarly, you can use, I mean, n number of formats. So for example, along with this, if you want to set for a hour and minutes as well as the seconds, right? So this will also will work. So this is coming from the date format is coming from the moment.js library. Okay. I mean, even if you know how to write a JavaScript code for generating the today's date, that is also okay. Okay. But there is something default available which we can leverage. Okay. So now, for example, this is setting the today's date. So when you run tomorrow, then tomorrow date will be updated as a today date, right? Because I don't want to come and change again and again the same date as a date, today's date. Okay. So if at all, if you want to use any future dates, so pm.variable.set. So I'm going to tell this as a update, which is a future date. Okay. So here I have to call the moment library dot. In the future date, in the sense, I have to add something, right? So you can refer the variables. I mean, you can refer the website here. You can see start of the month, the end of the month, and add days, add calendar days, subtract the days, right? So when I have to use for the add days for the increase, I mean, the future date. So I'm giving like 1, comma, I want to add the days, right? So that is what you can see, it's days. So 1 days, then I have to go for a format of dd slash mm slash yyyy. Okay. So now let's go and define this variable in the request body. So this is for future date. So now this date will come as a future date as a tomorrow date because we are giving us a 1 day from today, right? You can see the future date is coming as a 14/11. Today date is a 13/11. So now if I want to add for a month, so you can simply change it to month. So now when I send this, it will add 1 month from today, okay, which is next month as a 13/12. So today is a 13/11. So next month, when you add 1 month, it is coming as a 13/11. So if you want to use the future date, I mean, sorry, past date, you can set like this. So this is like I'm giving as a past date. So instead of add, what you have to do, you have to go for a subtract. Okay. So when you put as a subtract, and let's define this request body. Okay, so now this will come as a past date from 1 month today. You can see it is coming as a 13/10. See, we are using as a month. Okay, let's change back to this mm. This is dd, and here also mm, and here it is dd. Okay, so now if I send this, you will get some better idea. You can see the future date is going as a next month, and the past date is going as a previous month, as a today date. Okay, 1 month, because we are doing the 1 month subtract here and 1 month addition here. So this is how you can use the local variables. Okay, so again, the local variables is to execute the JavaScript code before you run the request. Okay, and you can set this as folder level also. So I'm just cutting everything here. and I can go to this folder level, which is a collection level. And here also you will find something called prerequested tab. Okay, so when you apply in the folder level, so this is applicable for across all the requests that is inside this collection. So now let's run this. So now also the same response we have to get it. Okay, you can see the same response is coming here. So now what else we can done in the, this prerequest script, right? So you can send one more request also. Okay, so for example, let's assume this is your main API. So if you want to access this API, you want to generate some token or you want to do some setup. So for example, when you want to launch Amazon website, you need a Chrome browser, right? So that Chrome browser will come as a prerequest kind of setup. So now what we can do, so when you click on this snippet button, so here you will get some basic snippets. So for example, send request is there. Okay. So when you click on the send request, you can see pm.sendRequest is one of the function that is coming from the Postman. So that will execute this method. So this is a basically get method. Okay. And they are doing the error response, they are catching it, and they are doing the console. So what it means, before your actual endpoint, this is our actual endpoint. Before this execute, so one more get call will be executed. Then it will execute our actual endpoint. So now you can see in the console, I'm sending this request. Okay. So when I send this, you can see the get method is executed, right? After then the post is executed. This post is our actual API, correct? So this is a post. So now if I comment this out, if I send this, only the post will be executed. Okay, you can see only the post is coming in the console, right? So you can select this all the code and you can click on the control / to enable the code and to disable the code, to comment and to enable. Okay. So now it is not only for the variables, these kind of setups. Okay, either you can send the one more request within the prerequest. For example, if this is your actual API endpoint, if you want to access them, for example, you want to generate the token first. So that token request, you can have it as a prerequest in the particular request, or you can have it in the folder also. Okay, so let's cut this one, and I'm going to update in the folder level, which is a collection. Okay, so now if I execute this one, you can go to the console. So when you apply it in the folder level, so this will get executed for every method that is inside this collection. Okay, so now if I go to this collection, if I run this collection, so in the collection I have 2 requests. So for every 2 requests, it will execute them. Now you can see here get is executed. After that also get is executed, and the post and again also get. Right, so it is executing 2 times. When you give it in the folder level, that is applicable for the every request that is inside the collection. Okay, so make sure that if it is applicable only for the particular request, so then you can go for only the request level. Okay, so I'm just copy pasting again, doing the undo. So now this is a get method, right? So an alternative way also you can set the get method. So postman.sendRequest is a function. So inside this, so you have to define the URL. So URL, for example, what we can give, let me give some example of this URL. Okay, I'm just copying this URL and I'm giving it here. Okay, so here I'm going to remove the variable and I'm going to send it as a page number 1. So after this, we have what is the method. Okay, so here the method name is get method. Okay, after that, for example, I want to define the headers. Okay, so header also we can define like this. So what is the most of the time header will be like it will be different. So most of the time we are going with the JSON type as a content type. So I'm going to give it as a JSON application JSON. So you can send a number, any types of format files. So when you go to here the header type, so if you just type application here, you can see a lot of formats are coming. Okay, PDF, XML, JavaScript, lot of things. So now in our case, we are sending as a JSON file. So I'm setting as a header as a JSON file. So after this, what we have to do, we have to create a function if you want to store the responses. Okay. So if any error comes, that will be captured in the error and the response will be captured in the response. So after this, I'm going to do the console. I want to print the response, whatever the response I'm getting it. Okay, response as a JSON. Okay, so this way also you can do the get method. So this is a simple one. And this is the one like when you want to add some header and some query parameter, everything. Okay. So now let's go to the console. Now what happens? This will be executed. After that, this will be executed. Then our actual API endpoint will be processed. Now you can see the page 1 is executed, which is this method. And the second one is this Postman echo is getting executed. So let me delete this. So now if I send this, so this page equal to 1, this endpoint, right? This endpoint will be processed. And you can see the entire console is getting printed in the console. I mean, the entire response is getting printed in the console. And finally, this actual endpoint is getting processed. Okay, so this is for the get method. So if you want to send the post method also, that is fine. So you can send the post also, pm.sendRequest. Okay, so again, just copy paste this all the values. And here the endpoint will be like this. Okay, users. Okay, and this is a post method. I'm giving as a post, and this content type also JSON. So when it has come to the post method, so what additionally we have to send? We have to send the request body. Okay, so just type as a body. So in the request body, how we are sending the request body, we have selected as a raw. Under the raw, we are sending as a JSON. Correct. The same thing you have to define here. So the mode will be raw. Okay, and under the raw, what we are sending, we are selecting as a JSON format. Right. So here you have to define JSON stringify method. So in the JSON stringify, we have to define the JSON object. So for example, here I'm going to send it as name, okay, and I'm sending the mobile number as, okay, here also I will just give us mobile 123. Okay, so this is my JSON. So after this, what I have to do, I have to create a function to store any error responses. So just give some variables. So after this, I'm going to console the same, console.log. So response.json. I mean, even if you leave it as a response also, the entire response will be printed. If you want to get it as a JSON format, then you have to send it as a JSON. Okay. So now what happens when I click on the send button, it will execute my get method, then it will execute my post method, then it will execute my actual API endpoint. So let's see now. I'm sending this now. Okay, you can see the get is processed. After that, the post is processed. Then our actual endpoint is processed. Okay. So now here you can see this is what we are sending, name and the mobile number. This ID and create it will come default from this website. So now, for example, I want to read the name. Okay, I want to read the name and I want to send that name to here. Okay, in that case, what we can do? So we are reading this JSON variable, right? So again, just do the console to make sure we are able to read the values. Okay, response.json. So in the JSON, so the name is a key, right? Name is an attribute. So let's clear everything. Let's see the name is getting printed in the console or not. So here the name is just a name. Okay, you can see the name is printed. So now what I can do, I can set it as a local variable, pm.variables.set. Here I'm going to define the name as a variable. So this name where we are reading from our previous post method. So this is a post method that we are sending as a part of pre-request is. From there, I'm reading the name. That name, I'm going to send it my actual request here. Okay, this one I'm going to make it as a variable. Okay, so this variable name, it is coming from where? I'm executing this pre method, which is a post. From the post, I'm reading the name value and I'm setting as a variable. So now let's execute this one. You can see here the name is coming as a name that we are sending as a part of our pre-request is post method. So this pre-request post method name is going and sitting here, our actual post method. Okay. So likewise, you can use this pre-request is tag. Okay. There are a lot of things, we can do with this based on your usage. You can define what you want to define. What you want to do. Okay. So that's all about the pre-request script. So you can write the JavaScript code also here. So this is a JavaScript function. Okay, this is one function. This is how we will write a JavaScript function. The Postman will support only the JavaScript. Okay. And the moment when you click on the send button, so whatever the instruction or whatever the code that you have written in the pre-request tab, it will be get executed. Then your your API endpoint will be processed. You will get the response. After the response, your test will be processed. So how to write the test cases, how to do the assertion and all, we'll cover in the upcoming video. Okay. So that's all about the prerequisite script. We will see in the another video of the test method, how to write the test and assertions. Okay. Thank you guys.